All right, it's practically January and everyone's making these predictions, right? AI this, recession that, automation, consolidation, new platforms, new strategies. And if you have ADHD, the prediction fatigue is real. It is so real. Everyone's telling you, what to pay attention to, what you're missing, and you're overwhelmed. You don't know who to believe, you don't know what's coming. But here's the thing, the biggest trend that matters to ADHD entrepreneurs isn't about the market. It's about finally working in a way that builds momentum and feeds your brain. Today, I want to give you some practical tips to do that. So let's dive into it.
Yo, yo, yes.
Yo, it's Alyece, say it right, no cap. ADHD CEO, yeah, we run this track. Systems that slap, brains built different. We make sales in our sleep, yeah, the hustle's efficient. This ain't fluff, nah, this is strategy raw for the ADHD. Minds breaking every old law. Hit subscribe, don't miss a single show. We're running on dopamine, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, here's what I see happening with ADHD entrepreneurs as we move into 2026. Okay. And if you haven't listened to the previous few episodes, 191, 192, we really talked about like setting your goals for next year. We talked about reviewing. Can't set goals if you don't know what worked, right? But everyone's looking outward. What's the market doing? What's the competitors doing? What's the next big thing? The ones who actually thrive, they're looking inward. They're asking, how does my brain work? What is not working for my brain? What's my energy pattern? What actually matters to me? Where am I being successful in my business? Where am I struggling? The market will do what it does. The trends will come, they will go, but your brain, that's consistency. The difference between ADHD entrepreneurs who struggle and the ones who are actually very successful. And there's an entire historical pattern of ones that are successful. You could literally Google it. Okay. The ones who thrive, it's not about following the trends, it's about understanding themselves. As neurodivergent entrepreneurs, we're very innovative. And so the last thing you need to be doing is trying to fit in, trying to do what everyone else is doing, is you do have an advantage of out of the box thinking if you utilize it. And so this belief of if I'm not paying attention to industry trends and algorithm changes and all of that garbage, you feel like you're going to miss out. FOMO. We talk about FOMO in just about every single episode because it's something that everyone experiences, but we experience it on like a physical level. And maybe you'll actually focus on what matters for your specific business and your customers and not every trend that applies to you. Not every prediction impacts your business. The ADHD brain is actually better at filtering noise than neurotypical brains. I know that seems like what, but you can feel when something matters. We get this gut feeling, intuition. We have a really strong intuition. You have to start trusting that. So I'd love to hear from you. You can comment on the podcast or you can send it to me in a DM. But what trend do you keep hearing about that you actually don't give a shit about? You can stop caring about it. I do not care what this platform's doing or that platform's doing because I can't control any of it. And so the wins are actually coming from entrepreneurs who executed on old strategies really well. You can go read books on sales psychology. I've done episodes on it. That don't change. That doesn't change. How we reach people and that visibility, that might change. But what doesn't change is building a community, serving your customers, iterating based on feedback, staying consistent. None of that is new, and that is how you win the game. The difference isn't the strategy, it's the execution. And execution happens when you work with your brain, when you get really good at what you're doing. So I'd love to hear from you, but look at like 3 super successful ADHD entrepreneurs. Go Google them, right? Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Simone Biles, which she's actually an Olympic gymnast, but obviously there's some business there of her brand, right? What are they actually doing? It's probably not anything new. They're just doing the fundamentals with their brain intact. And so this narrative of I should be doing more, faster, bigger, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill your business. It kills all ADHD entrepreneurs. More, faster, bigger, all of that is great. And we do move fast. A lot of times we do make big movements. We do sometimes take bigger risks, but that kind of consistency and single focus, we don't naturally have that. And so the entrepreneurs winning in 2026 aren't the ones doing the most. It's going to be the ones that are doing what's right for them. And sometimes that's smaller. Sometimes that's slower. Sometimes that's one thing instead of 10, and that's a struggle for us. So ask yourself, like, what if you decided in 2026 that doing less better with better boundaries is the actual win? I mean, I don't have like a crystal ball over here, but in my opinion, that is a win. Doing less better is the win. And so the market's always changing. And so we tend to think that we have to always constantly adapt. And yes, constantly means constantly, but not hourly. Right? You can adapt quarterly or semi annually. And again, we talked about this in 191 and 192, but you don't have to wake up ready to pivot every morning. You shouldn't be. And I know because of our fear of rejection and our just ruminating on all of the things that have gone wrong, a lot of times that's how it happens for us. We're ready to pivot constantly. But the constant micro adjustments actually destabilize your brain. You have to build some stability even while you're adapting. So if you're not using, I also see a lot right now in the market and on social about if you're not using AI or AI videos or this brand new platform, you're behind. I love AI. Not gonna lie. I use it a ton. Like it edits these podcasts for me. It takes out any long pauses or breaths or silences. It makes clips for social media. You're actually ahead if you're not getting distracted by the shiny objects. The most sustainable businesses are the ones that are built on relationships and clear value. The tools are going to change, the value doesn't. Can you optimize your current business by using these tools? Yes. But allowing them to completely derail you and distract you and feeling like you're failing because you haven't bought the newest AI software, all that's doing is distracting you. And so often the winners in this game, and by win, I'm not even talking about sales, I'm talking about sustainability. The ones who are still in business 5 years later are actually the ones who move at a sustainable pace for them. Fast and burned out does not hold up for years. And so if your goal is to get in this business, make a shit ton of money, go buy an Airbnb and get out of this business, fine. But if you want to be in business for a long time, doing what you're doing, you love what you're doing, steady and actually present is what matters. And so I remember being really obsessed with the trends. AI, automation, new platforms. I still love AI. I'm constantly learning it. I love automation. Like I am an automation specialist at this point, but I wanted to be ahead of everything. And so I was coming back in my late night hyper focus, spending 5, 6 hours learning these tools, and I was burning out because learning these new tools was distracting me from what I was supposed to be doing. I mean, think about it. How many Google Sheets have you spent 5 hours color coding and never actually used them? Constantly learning new things and never actually mastering anything, never building anything that lasted just kills your momentum and it kills your energy. And so when I looked at the businesses that were genuinely thriving, they weren't doing anything fancy, to be honest. They were doing a few things really, really well and they were sustainable. And so I realized the prediction I needed wasn't about the market, it was about my workflow and how I was doing business on a daily basis. What was going to keep me engaged? What was going to let me work sustainably? What actually aligned with my values? Once I got really clear on that, everything else became just noise. And so I want to kind of give you a framework here. You know how my episodes go, but I want to give you 5 predictions that actually matter for ADHD entrepreneurs in 2026. Again, these are from my brain, but I've been in business for several years now. I was in marketing before that. And I do tend to play devil's advocate and find holes in strategy. So you could trust me. That's all I'm saying. Prediction number 1: the biggest success will come from sustainable systems, not chaotic hustle burnout. So burnout is killing entrepreneurs. The ones who thrive in 2026 will be the ones who build sustainably. That's not new. That's coming back into focus because people are tired. This is what I work on in my academy, teaching sustainable from the beginning, not burnout, sustainable efficiency. And so, what would sustainable look like for your business? Not what it looks like for someone else, but for you. All right. Prediction number 2: authenticity will be the new productivity. So, people are over polished. Your audience wants real. For ADHD entrepreneurs, that's an advantage. You're often naturally real. You overshare. Okay. We know you overshare, but that's becoming the brand. What is one area where you could be more yourself instead of less? Prediction number 3: community will be the biggest competitive advantage. So, especially for ADHD entrepreneurs, you build community differently. You build real community. That's going to be worth more than any productivity hack I can give you. So, what's your community in 2026? Who are you building with and where? Number 4: the ADHD advantage will start getting recognized, not hidden for years. So, people have hidden their ADHD. They've masked, they pretended to be neurotypical. That is shifting. All right. ADHD entrepreneurship is starting to be seen as an advantage. Your hyperfocus, your innovation, your adaptability. 2026 is the year some of you are going to stop masking and start leading as your actual selves. If you're not already on the wait list for my book, Flow First Thinking, that's coming out here really, really soon, I talk a lot about this, but it's coming. People are starting to recognize neurodivergency. And so, what would it mean to be unmasked in your business? To lead with your ADHD instead of despite of it? I challenge you to start being yourself online. Start being yourself online, okay? Number 5, the winners will know themselves, not the market. Themselves. You need to know what your brain does well, what drains you, what energizes you, what you actually want to build. The entrepreneurs who spend more time understanding themselves than chasing trends will absolutely win. So you need to commit to 2026 being your year of you knowing yourself, not just your business, your actual pattern. And so, in order to do this, you have to stop listening to all the predictions. You have to pick 2 things that actually apply to your business and focus on what you can control: your systems, your team, your clarity, knowing your pattern. Learn it, build around it, build that community. Because if I'm being really honest here, it's your advantage to be different online, not to blend in. But right now, you have felt like you have to do what's trending or you have to do what's everyone else is doing. Your biggest prediction for 2026 isn't about the market. It is a revolution for you to be able to build in a way that is sustainable for you specifically. That's not a trend. And in 2026, you need to fully lean into it. The market's going to do what it does. The trends will come and go, but your brain, that's your competitive advantage. And I'm going to be real blunt with you here. If you don't learn how to build sustainably, nothing's changing. Your brain's not changing. It's not going to change overnight. I don't care what the doctors have told you, and I'm not a medical doctor, but your ADHD doesn't just go away. You don't just grow out of it. All right. I'm 35 sitting here telling you, you don't just grow out of it. That is what is going to carry you forward. So when you forget the industry predictions and you start with yourself, you start going all in on yourself. And mindset work's a big part of entrepreneurship, but we struggle as ADHD people to do mindset work in a traditional way, right? I cannot sit and meditate. Do not ask me to do that. That is too quiet, too many thoughts. I cannot think over my brain to meditate. But it is important for you to do mindset work in believing in yourself and understanding what makes you different is not a disadvantage. And so it's so important for you to really look inward. How are you going to show up online? How are you going to be different in your business? Who cares if you're quirky? Stop looking for external validation from people who don't understand how you operate to begin with. All right. So these are my predictions. I'm going to give them to you one more time. I really hope you downloaded this episode so you can come back and listen to them again. The biggest success will come from sustainable systems. You have to have systems. If you're trying to do everything manually in your business every day, it's over. You have to have processes. When I create content, this is what happens to actually get it posted. When I have a sale, this is what happens to make sure my customer actually gets what it needs. And that's just business systems. You need systems in your daily life. That is my jam, my specialty. Prediction 2, authenticity will be the new productivity. You got to be real with yourself. Stop pretending to be someone else. Stop lying in your content. I hope you're not lying, but there is this ultimate pressure to make things look better than they really are online. And that's what I see. Number 3, community will become the biggest competitive advantage. That's going to be worth more than any productivity hack to you. So, who are you building your community with and where? Stop spreading yourself so thin, trying to build everywhere and go all in on one place. The neurodivergency is going to start getting recognized even more. So, stop being afraid to share about yourself. And number 5, the winners will know themselves, not their market. So, if a mentor or a course or a trend makes you feel, don't do it. The ick, is that what they call it these days? The ick. If it gives you the ick, don't do it. Know yourself, know what works for you, find accountability and support and a mentor that understands that and will help you strategize around that. So, with that being said, check the show notes for all the resources. Make sure you're on the wait list for the book coming out, the ADHD CEO Creator Command Center. If you haven't plugged into that, you're losing. Okay. You are. I created this for your brain specifically. It's not just a productivity tool, it is an action plan if you use it correctly. Take a screenshot if you listen to this, throw it in your stories, tag me. If you got any value out of this episode, please leave it a review. It is the absolute best compliment you can ever give. It helps me understand what topics you like, helps us get pushed out to help other entrepreneurs. And until next time, make it simple, make it social, make it awesome.